If you don't own a smartphone already, and if you do, you may be eyeing the new iPhones that Apple just unveiled. Ai Uchida joins us from the business deck with details on the announcement. Ai.
Keiko, you won't be able to get your hands on it for at least another week and a half, but I can assure you iPhone fans around the world are already reading up on the specs of Apple's new offerings. The firm's officials have unveiled 2 new models of their smartphone.
iPhone 5C is beautifully, unapologetically plastic.
Formulaic as its launches have become. This time, the tech world was expecting something different from Apple. Rumours abounded of a new, colourful, budget iPhone.
So this is iPhone 5C. It comes in 5 colors: blue, white, pink, yellow, and green. It starts with a large 16-gigabyte configuration at a price of just $99.
Colourful? Yes. Cheaper? Not really. That price comes with a 2-year contract. Here in Britain, without a contract, the iPhone 5C will cost at least £469 up front.
Material and colour.
And that's not all. For the first time, Apple has unveiled 2 distinctly different handsets at the same time. The iPhone 5S is aimed at the top end of the smartphone market, with new features for users including fingerprint ID. But the more basic 5C model may not be all it seems, as journalist and new technologies expert Paolo Ottolina explains. The 5C is actually not so cheap, because in the US it'll be sold for at least $549 for those not subscribing to a contract, so it's hardly a true low-cost model. But it could help Apple challenge important markets such as China, where sales of the Google Android are rising. But will it be enough to tackle the growth of the other competitors, Samsung first of all? If we look at the stock exchange reaction, I'd say no, but the next few months will tell us more.
Fresh out of an hour-and-a-half long presentation, the Apple chief exec Tim Cook there. We have 2 new phones that Apple announced today, the premium iPhone 5S and the slightly less premium iPhone 5C. Both of these will be replacing the iPhone 5, which is shortly to be phased out. This one, some very interesting technologies. The headline for this is the 64-bit architecture inside this phone, as well as a couple of new hardware features. Let me just take you through a few of them. The first thing you'll notice here is the ring round the home button. This actually houses a fingerprint sensor, very, very accurate and detailed. Fingerprint sensors have been used before on devices. This one hasn't been registered yet, so it won't actually work with my finger. But unlike previous devices of many years ago, which used fingerprints to authenticate, this one will actually be used to buy apps and purchases from, for example, the iTunes store. So what about the 64-bit architecture? Well, that is going to come into its own on things like the camera. The camera has been completely redesigned, and I can show you there, if we show a picture of Tim Cook and Elvis Costello. We've got 21 photos that I just took in burst mode there, very, very quickly, and it's got some neat camera features, neat tricks up its sleeve, slow motion, 120 frames a second video, a better sensor, twice as big, but the 64-bit architecture and the processor being twice as fast as its predecessor really should make a difference here.
Both the iPhone 5S and the 5C will come with Apple's new iOS 7 software, and it looks way different than the other iPhone software that you've been using for years. It has new icons, new colors, and new features. I'm most excited about the Control Center, which lets you swipe up from the bottom of the screen to get to your settings.
Some folks may have been disappointed that there weren't any other product announcements today, like updated iPads or the rumored iWatch or an updated Apple TV. Apple typically holds another event in October when it unveils the latest gadgets for the holiday season. We'll have to see how that plays out. In the meantime, the new iPhones go on sale on September 20th.